afternoon, suburbanites. And by that, I don't mean where you live. I mean you, our readers, and now our viewers, to another episode of the Suburban on Air. My blog here is called Beyond the Pages, and we try to take you into the news, the editorials, and all the commentary on what's been going on this week. More than this week on any given day. So this is episode 6. You'll be seeing a lot more of these because the news is going to get hotter and more interesting, I think, as we roll out and we go into back to the non-COVID world. I want to speak to you today on something that I'll call keeping your eyes on the prize, which is very hard to do when everybody or most people are kind of in a state of panic. Oh, sorry, I just noticed I've got my lanyard on with my press pass. It's a wonderful thing to have, people, especially young people out there. Something like this, in a city like this, at a time like this, gets you everywhere. And it's almost worth going into the profession just for this. I want to talk to you about what happened in Montreal on Sunday. I was fortunate about 4:45 to get a phone call. I didn't know there was going to be a march going on. And a friend of mine from the Black community, a great activist, we've worked together for years, called me and said, this march is really coming together. There's a lot of people here at Place des Arts and at Place du Canada. Come join us. And I did. And I was very happy that I did. I know many of you you knew what the march was about. It was an anti-racism march in solidarity with the Canadian, African-American community following the brutal death of George Floyd, the brutal murder of George Floyd. 9 minutes seeing a police officer kill a human being. It's incredible. It was incredible why the other officers stood by. It was incredible even the questions have been asked. Why didn't the other officers stop the person videotaping? And I know that many of you are sympathetic to what the marchers did. It was a wonderful march in many respects. But here were 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 people. There are various estimates who said, you know what? There may be health risks out there. We won't discuss today my personal, more liberal views on how one should behave during this period of time. But social justice demands that I put myself on the line. And there's been a lot of commentary that people are so scared, so frightened, and most are, that if there was an emergency, how would we all react? We would be too scared to react. Could this generation fight a war, is a question very often asked. Well, between 5,000 to 7,000 Montrealers showed on Sunday that they would. They put themselves, their bodies, not just their principles on the line, but they showed that a commitment to principle is more important than even health risks. Because, and speaking to some people there, and some young people that approached me who had heard me speak in schools, and they said to me, if we weren't here, and I said to ask them, and most wore masks, I'd say 60% of the people wore masks. But I asked some of them, aren't you nervous? Aren't you scared? And one after another of the people that I asked said the following: if it's only about health, well, what are we trying to stay alive for? We have to recognize ourselves on the other side of all this. And it was a wonderful thing to hear, time and again, and from young people. And it was worthy of the story of the month, the story of the year, more than COVID itself. This is our front page. I'm going to try to, every time I use this show and tell, I try to angle it so that you can see it. But this is our front page this week. Sorry. This is a picture I took of the march, and a picture down here that says, my color is not a crime. I'm going to try to make it larger. And this was the iconic image right there. Let me bear with me as I angle this thing. My color is not a crime. There was a peaceful march from the Quartier de Spectacle in Place des Arts to Place du Canada. There was a very moving, let me see if I have that picture, where about, I'd say several thousand people kneeled in Place du Canada, kneeled in solidarity. And then a group walked to Place des Arts, and another group walked from Place des Arts to Place du Canada. And there were talks and there were speeches. And my friends, it was peaceful. It was necessary. And I know that a lot of the, I'm sorry, I'm just searching for a picture. I know that a lot of the commentary has focused. Here is a more Here is a larger picture of that placard, "My color is not a crime." This, as many people wrote in, this was the iconic image. My color is not a crime. I know that many of you, the coverage that you paid attention to is what happened at the end of the march. I can tell you, since I was there, almost, I'd say 95% of the participants left by 8 o'clock, 8:15. There were a group with black balaclavas, black tops, black pants, with black and red flags. We knew they were Antifa. We knew that some of them were the black box and no relation to skin color. Most of them were white. I went over to some police officers I knew and I said, look, they're there. They're going to cause trouble at the end. The officers, of course, said, there's nothing we can do about it. They haven't done anything yet. And some of the officers, by the way, were actually with the marchers on bicycle or on foot. Now, you know the story of the rest of it. About 15, 20 minutes after 8 o'clock, with very few people left, a group of, the police say up to 100. I saw 30 right off the bat start. They started shouting epithets at the police. They started putting up a barrier. They took orange cones and put up a barrier. And behind the orange cones, they took down a portable toilet from construction site. The police, naturally, told them to disperse. They wouldn't. You saw what ensued. But after that, these thugs, they're not protesters, these thugs started crashing into store windows, destroying property, looting Steve's music store, as you all have seen. That was not the march. This was not anywhere near what was happening in America. I ask all of you to remember what it was about. My color is not a crime. This was about keeping your eyes on the prize. Up to 7,000 people at risk of health, to whatever degree you believe the risk is out there, felt that principle was important, that we're more than just physical beings. As those young people said to me, if it's only about health, what are we trying to stay alive for? What are we trying to stay healthy for? They put principles above risk. That is a noble, wonderful thing. It is in a time when we're surrounded by sham and drudgery, and sometimes we give up hope in our neighbors and in our fellows. People on Sunday in Montreal stood up and said, we are standing for justice, come what may. That is a great thing. Let's all keep our eyes on the prize as we go forward. Thank you very much. Good day and good luck.